So if you're feeling jealous of someone else, what do you do about it? If you're feeling jealous about all of what they have, now what? Today in our Ask Dr. Saira question, that's the one that's come through from Tim. It says, how do I deal with jealousy? I'm looking at other people who have what they don't seem to deserve, and I'm jealous of that. What do I do? How do I deal with jealousy? I'm looking at people who have what they don't seem to deserve. So what do you do about that? It's a good question. It's an honest question, and I want to say that up front, is it's hard to admit to yourself and others that you're feeling jealous of someone or that you're envious. So that's the first step, is admitting what's really going on inside, rather than being, oh yeah, congratulations, but actually saying, oh wait, that stirred something up in me. I'll tell you, I've struggled with my fair share of jealousy over the years. And what I've learned is, because these days I don't experience that really anymore, and I'm wondering, what changed in me. And as I thought about this question, it's really about one of my teachers used to say, stay in your own lane, right? Oprah says, don't look behind you at those who are catching up with you on the race, and don't try to be the people in front of you. Just stay in your lane. And that's, I think, it's hard to do, right? Because as people, we've kind of been conditioned to rank ourselves based on how other people are doing. So in a family, if one child is really academic and then the second child isn't, then they're being ranked against them. If one child's really athletic and the other child isn't, they're being ranked against each other, but often by the parents, and maybe by their other cousins and friends. And so there's that kind of tendency to kind of pit ourselves against each other. I want to tell you a story. So during COVID-19, we've been doing that home, working from home with our kids. Thank goodness that's over and it's summer holidays, but it was happening. And one of the things that one of my kids had to do was contribute to this blog. And so there's a page, and everybody would write their little blog entries about what they were doing and the different assignments that the teachers were giving. And so one day I was really busy. I had a full day at work, and so my daughter kind of just did it on her own, and kind of put in her entry, and she's 7. So it was a big deal. She was really proud of herself for doing it on her own. And then she showed me her blog entry, and the assignment was about cooking something or something like that. And so hers was, I think, what did she even make? Like an omelet or something pretty simple. And then you had to document it and explain your process or whatever. And I looked at her omelet, and then I looked at homemade oatmeal. I looked at, somebody making a healthy smoothie, all of these things. And I got upset, and I was like, well, why couldn't you think of something more elaborate than just an omelet? Look at your friends. They're all doing all these elaborate things. And her face just crumbled, and she was like, but you weren't there to help me, Mama. And I was like, oh, right. Because all of those other kids had their parents in the shot with them, right? Their parents were helping them make that, put in the ingredients for the smoothie, or figure out how to do that homemade oatmeal. What is it? Apple cinnamon homemade oatmeal. I wasn't there, right? And so I was unfairly, well, first of all, comparing at all. And she said to me, other people do different things, and other people can do different things well than me, or something like that. They're good at some things and I'm good at other things. And I don't need to be told that by a 7-year-old. I should know that. But that's how I was raised, right? We were looking at, who got the better marks, and who got the, more good-looking boyfriend, and who got married and who didn't, and who had kids. And it's constantly this buzzing in the background, right? That compares. And so I found myself doing that. In my own life, it's happened less, I think, because I'm learning to stay in my own lane and being really grateful for the things that I do have, because I have a lot more than a lot of people, right? If I'm going to compare myself this way, I also have to be willing to compare myself this way, right? And say, okay, well, you know what? I actually have I've had a lot of opportunities. I've had a lot of doors been open for me. I had a lot of things lined up for me to get me where I am today. And that was not of my doing, right? One of my teachers says, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, of the people who came before us and laid the foundation. And so I think about, as a woman, my kids and I talk about this all the time, but there was a time in history where women weren't allowed to read. And that just blows their minds. They can't imagine why. First of all, that would be a thing. And that, like, one of my older son, he's like, well, then what did they do with their time? Like, what did they do all day if they couldn't read? He loves to read. And it's that thing, right? Like, there were women who had to come before, who had to pave the way for me to be able to do something that today I totally take for granted, that I can read. I don't even think about that I'm allowed to read, right? And so that kills jealousy, right? Gratitude is what kills jealousy. And so the first thing, like I said, is to admit, like, yeah, okay, you're having a bit of a twinge of envy here. And then look at, okay, what's that about? What do I think they have because of their Mercedes? What do I think they have because of their beautiful, life partner? What do I think they have because they're able to go on these holidays? Okay, so I think they have freedom. I think they have happiness. I think they have success. Okay, so then looking at my own life, where do I have freedom? It might not look the same as someone else's. And if I don't have freedom, what do I need to do to get there? What changes do I need to make to my life to have the things that I see other people having that I want? Because it's usually not the Mercedes, right? I mean, we think it is, but it's usually what the Mercedes symbolizes to us, right? Which might be success, or it might be whatever, financial freedom. And so that's what I would say to you, Tim, is that first of all, envy, jealousy is so normal. But if you want to be a little bit more conscious about it, these are some ideas of how to do that. Be willing to be honest about what you do have, and then look at ways to gather, in your own life, some of these qualities that you're seeing in the people around you. So those are my thoughts for today for Ask Dr. Saira. Feel free to send me your question, and make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Bye.